Hi, I'm Smee. I want to read this story called Smee. No, said Jackson, with a shy little smile. I'm sorry, I gone play hide and seek. It was Christmas Eve, and there were 14 of us in the house. We had had a good dinner, and we were all in the mood for fun and games. All, that is, except Jackson. When somebody suggested hide and seek, there were a long suit of agreement. Jackson's refuse was the only one. It was not like Jackson to refuse to play a game. Aren't you feeling well? Someone asked. I'm perfectly all right, thank you, he said. But he added with a smile that softened his refuse but did not change it. I'm still not playing hide and seek. Why not? Someone asked. He hesitated for a moment before replying. I sometimes go and stayed at a house where a girl was killed. She was playing hide and seek in the dark. She didn't know the house very well. There was a door that led to several stairs. When she was chased, she thought the door led to the bedroom. She opened the door and jumped and landed on the bottom of the stair. She broke her neck, of course. We all looked serious. Mrs. Fernley said, "How terrible! And were you there when it happened?" Jackson shook his head sadly. No, he said, but I was there when something else happened. Something worse. What could be worse than that? This was, said Jackson. He hesitated for a moment, then he said, I wonder if any of you have ever played a game called Smee. It's much better than hide and seek. The name comes from it's me, of course. Perhaps you'd like to play it instead of hide and seek. Let me tell you the rule of the game. Every player is given a sheet of paper. All the sheets except one are blank. When the last sheet of paper is written Smee, nobody knows who Smee is except Smee, himself or herself. You turn out the light, and Smee goes quickly out of the room and hides. After a time, the others go off to the search for Smee, but of course they don't know who they are looking for. When one player meets another, he challenges him by saying, Smee. The other player answers Smee, and they continue searching. But the real Smee doesn't answer when someone challenges. The second player stays quickly beside him. Presently, they will be discovered by a third player. He will challenge and receive no answer, and he will go in the first two. This goes on until the players are in the same place. The last one to find Smee has to play a forfeit. It's a good, noisy, amusing game. In a big house, it often takes a long time for everyone to find Smee. Perhaps you'd like to try. I'll happily pay my forfeit and sit here by the fire while you play. It's so a good game, I remarked. Have you played it too, Jackson? Yes, he answered. I played in the house that I was telling you about. And she was there? The girl who brought... No, no, said Jackson. Someone else. He told us he wasn't there when she broke her neck. Jackson thought for a moment. I don't know if she was there or not. I'm afraid she was. I know that there were 13 of us playing the game, and there were only 12 people in the house. And I didn't know the dead girl's name. When I heard the whisper name in the dark, it didn't warn me. But I tell you, I'm never going to play that kind of game again. It made me quite nervous for a long time. I prefer to pay my forfeit at once. We all stared at him. His word did not make sense at all. Tim Bowes was the kindest man in the world. He smiled at us all. This sounds like an inspiring story, he said. Come on, Jackson. You can tell it to the us instead of playing a forfeit. Very well, said Jackson. And here is his story. Have you met the Sandstone? They are cousins of mine, and they live in Surrey. 5 years ago, they invited me to go and spend Christmas with them. It was an old house, with lots of unnecessary passages and staircases. A stranger could get lost in it quite easily. Well, I went down for that Christmas. Violet Sandstone promised me that I knew most of the other guests. Unfortunately, I couldn't get away from my job until Christmas Eve. All the other guests have arrived there the previous day. I was the last to arrive, and I was only just in time for dinner. I said hello to everyone I knew, and Violet Sandstone introduced me to the people I didn't know. Then it was time to go into dinner. That is perhaps why I didn't hear the names of all. Dark-haired, handsome, some girl who I hadn't met before. Everyone was in a rather hurry, and I am always bad at catching people's names. She looked cool and clever. She didn't look at all friendly, but she looked interested, and I wondered who she was. I didn't ask, because I was sure that someone would speak to her by name during the meal. Unluckily, however, I was a long way from her table. It was sitting next to Mrs. Jorman, and as usual, Mrs. Jorman was being very pretty and amusing. Her conversation is always hard to listen to, and I completely forgot to ask the name of the third proud girl. There was 12 of us, including the Sandstone themselves. We were all young, or trying to be young. Jack and Violet Sancho were the oldest, and their 7 years old son Reggie was the youngest. It was Reggie who suggested Smee. When the told turned to games, he told us the rules of the game. Just I described them to you. Jackson Sandstone warned us all. If you are going to play games in the dark, he said, please be careful of the back stair or the first floor. A door leads to them, and he often thought about taking the door off. In the dark, I strained to how good thing they were walking into a room. A girl really did break her neck on the stairs. I asked how it happened. It was about them years ago, before we came here. There was a party, and they were playing hide and seek. This girl was looking for somewhere to hide. She heard somebody coming and ran along the passage to get away. She opened the door, thinking it led to a bedroom. She planned to hide in there until the seeker had gone. Unfortunately, it was the door that led to the back stairs. She fell straight down to the bottom of the stairs. She was dead when they picked her up. We all promised to be careful. Mrs. Sherman even made a little joke about living to be 9. You see, none of us have knew the poor girl, and we did not want to feel sad on Christmas Eve. Well, we all stayed again immediately after dinner. Young Reggie Samson went around making sure and the lights were off, except the ones in the servants' room and in the sitting rooms where we were. When they prepared a flat sheet of paper, 11 of them were blank, and one of them had Smee written on it. Reggie missed them of all up. Then we each took one. The person who got the paper with me on it had to hide. I looked at mine and saw that it was blank. A moment later, all the electric light went out. In the darkness, I heard someone moving very quickly to the door. After a time, somebody blew a whistle. We all rushed to the door. And I have no idea who was me. For 5 of 10 minutes, we were rushing up and down passages and in on, out of rooms, challenging each other and answering, Smee, Smee. After a while, the noise died down, and I guessed that someone had found Smee. After time, I found a group of people sitting on some narrow stair. I challenged and received no answer. So Smee was there. I hurriedly joined the group. Presently, 2 more players arrived. Each other one was hurrying to avoid being last. Jack Sandstone was last and was given a forfeit. I think we're all here now, aren't we? He remarked. He lit a match, looked up the stair and began to count. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, he said. And then loud, that's silly. There's one too many. The match went out, and he lit another and began to count. He got as far as 12. Then he looked puzzled. There are 13 people here, he said. I haven't counted myself yet. Oh, nonsense, I laughed. You probably began with yourself and now you want to count yourself twice. His son took out his electric torch. It gave a better light than the matches, and we all began to count. Of course, there were 12 of us. Jack laughed. Well, he said, he was sure I counted 13 twice. Front half was up the stair by an assumption spoke nervously. I thought there was somebody sitting to stay above me. Have you moved, Captain Ransom? The captain said that he hadn't, but I thought there was somebody sitting between Mrs. Sanson and me. Just for a moment there was an uncomfortable something, and there a cold finger seemed to touch us all. For that moment, we all feel that something odd and unpleasant had just happened, and it was likely to happen again. Then we laughed at ourselves and at each other, and we felt normal again. There were only 12 of us, and that was that. Still loud, he marched back to the sitting room to begin again. This time I was Smee. Violet Sandstone followed me while I was searching for a hiding place. That gate didn't last long. Soon there were 12 people and the game was over. Violet felt cold and watched her neck. Her husband went up to their bedroom to fetch it. As soon as he gone, Reggie touched me on the arm. He was looking pale and sick. "Quick," he whispered. "I go to talk to you. Something horrible has happened." We went into the breakfast room. "What's the matter?" I asked. "I don't know. You were me? Last time, weren't you?" "Well, of course, I didn't know who Smee was." While Mother and the others ran to the west side of the house and found you, I went east. There's a deep closet cupboard in my bedroom. It looked like a good high place. I thought that perhaps Smee might be there. I opened the door in the dark and touched somebody's hand. "Smee," I whispered. There was no answer. I thought I found Smee. Well, I don't understand it, but I suddenly had a strange, cold feeling. I can't describe it, but I feel that something was wrong. So I turned on my electric torch, and there was nobody there. Now I am sure I touched a hand, and nobody could get out of the cupboard because I was standing in the doorway. What do you think? "You mean that you touched a hand," I said. He had a short laugh. "I knew you would say that," he said. "Of course, I remind. That's the only explanation, isn't it?" I agreed with him. I could see that the steel feels shaking. Together we returned to the sitting room for another can of Smee. The others were already and waiting to start again. Perhaps it was my imagination, though I'm almost sure that it was not. But I had a feeling that nobody was really enjoying the game anymore. But everyone was too polite to mention it. All the same, I had the feeling that something was wrong. All the fun had gone out of the game. Something deep inside me was trying to warn me. Take care, it whispered. Take care. There was some unnatural, unhealthy influence at work in the house. Why did I have this feeling? Because Jack Sandstone had account 13 people instead of 12? Because his son imagining he had touched someone's hand in the good word? I tried to laugh out myself, but I didn't know such a. Well, we started again. While we were all chasing the oh no, Smee, we were all as nosy as ever. But it seemed to me that most of us were just acting. We were no longer enjoying the game, and fear I stayed with the other. But for several minutes, not me was found. I left the main road and started searching on the third floor at the west side of the house. And there, while I was feeling my way along, I bumped into a pair of human sneaks. I put out my hand and touched a soft, heavy curtain. Then I knew where I was. There were tall, deep windows with windowed seats at the end of the passages. The curtain reached to the ground. Somebody was sitting in a corner of one of the window seats, behind a curtain. Aha, I thought. I've called Smee. So I pulled the curtain to one side and touched a woman's arm. It was a dark, moonless night outside. I couldn't see the woman sitting in the corner of the window seat. Smee? I whispered. There was no answer. When Smee is challenged, he or she doesn't answer. So I sat down beside her to wait for the others. Then I whispered, "What's your name?" And out of the darkness beside me, the whisper came, "Brenda Ford." I did know I did not know the name, but I guessed at once who she was. I knew every girl in the house by name except one, and that was the tall, pale, dark girl. So here she was sitting beside me on the window seat, shut in between a heavy curtain and windows. I was beginning to enjoy the game. I wondered if she was enjoying it too. I whispered one or two rather ordinary questions to her, and received no answer. Smee is a game of silence. It is a rule of the game that's me, and the person or persons who have found me have to keep quiet. This, of course, makes it harder for the others to find them, but there was nobody else about. I wonder, therefore, why she was in sign of silence. I spoke again and got no answer. I began to feel a little annoyed. Perhaps she is one of those calm, clever girls who have a poor opinion of all men. I thought. She doesn't like me, and she is using to the rules of the games and an excuse for not speaking. Well, if she doesn't like sitting here with me. I certainly don't want to sit with her. I turned away from her. I hope someone finds us soon, I thought. As I sat there, I realized that I disliked sitting beside this girl very much. Indeed, that was strange. The girl I had seen at dinner had seemed like, well, in a cool kind of way. I noticed her and wanted to know more about her. But now I felt really uncomfortable beside her. The feeling of something worse, something natural, was worrying. I remember touching her arms, and I trembled with horror. I wanted to jump up and run away. I prayed that someone else would come along soon. Just then I heard footsteps in the passage. Somebody on the other side of the curtain brushed against my knee. The curtains moved to one side, and a woman's hands touched my shoulder. "Smee?" whispered a voice that I recognized at once. It was Mrs. Jorman. Of course, she received me elsewhere. She came and sat down beside me, and at once I felt very much better. "It's Tony Jackson, isn't it?" she whispered. "Yes," I whispered back. "You're not me, are you?" "No," she was my other side. She reached out across me. I heard her fingers nice scrunch a woman's silk dress. "Hello, it's me. Who are you?" "Who are you?" "Oh, it's against the rules to talk." "Never mind, Tony. We'll break the rules. Do you know, Tony, this game is beginning to annoy me a little. I hope they aren't going to play it all evening. I like to play a nice, quiet game. All together beside a warm fire." "Me too," I agreed. "Can you suggest something to them?" "There's something rather unhealthy about this particular game. I'm sure I'm being very silly, but I can't get rid of the idea that we got an extra player. Somebody who ought to know not to be here at all." That was exactly how I felt. But I didn't say so. However, I felt very much better. Mrs. German, our arrival had changed away my fears. We sat talking. "I wonder when the others will phone us," said Mrs. German. After a time, we heard the sound of feet, and John Regan's voice soothing. "Hello? Hello? Is anybody there?" "Yes," I whispered. I answered. "Is Mrs. German with you?" "Yes." "What happened to you?" "You both got perfect. We've all been waiting for you for hours. But you haven't found me yet," I complained. "You haven't, you mean I was Smee this time. But Smee is here with us," I cried. "Yes, hurry, Mrs. Jorman." The curtain was pulling back, and we sat looking into the eyes of Reggie Electron Charge. I looked at Mrs. Jorman, and then on my other side, between me On the wall was an empty place on the window seat. He stood up at once. Then I sat down again. I was feeling very sick and the world seemed to be going round and round. There was somebody there. I insisted because I touched her. So I said Mrs. German in a trembling voice, and I don't think anyone could leave this window seat without us knowing. Reggie have a shaky little laugh. I remember his unpleasant experience in the dark evening. Someone's been playing jokes. He said, "Are you coming down?" We were not very popular when we came down to the sitting room. I found the two of them sitting behind a curtain on a window seat, said Reggie. I went up to the tall, dark girl. "So, you pretended to be Smee, and then went away." I kissed her. She shook her head. Afterwards, we all played cards in the sitting room, and I was very glad. Some time later, Jack Santon wanted to talk to me. I could see that they was rather cross with me, and soon he told me the reason. "Tony," he said, "I suppose you are in love with Mrs. German. That's your boss. That's your business. But please, don't make love to her in my house during a game. You keep everyone waiting. It was very rude of you, and I'm answering of you." "But we were not alone," I protested. "There was somebody else there. Somebody who has pretended to be me. I believe it was that all. That girl. Miss Ford. She whispered her name to me, of course. She refused to admit it afterwards." Jackson Sampson stared at me. "Miss who?" "He vetted Brenda Ford," she said. Jack put a hand on my shoulder. "Look here, Tony," he said. "I don't mind a joke, but enough is enough. We don't want to worry the ladies. Brenda Ford is the name of the girl who broke her name on the stage. She was playing hide and seek here 10 years ago." That's all. Thank you.